Hello and welcome to our Lydia exercise video for improving walking and falls prevention. I'm Becca and this is Vicky, and we're going to be doing a few exercises to help with your gait, so that's a fancy word for your walking, with your balance, and just to think about when you're walking around, keeping your walking as sort of steady as possible to prevent falls, but also just to keep you moving and keep you as independent as possible. I'm going to be doing the standing version, Vicky's going to be doing the sitting version. What I'm going to encourage you to do is work with the body that you have today and really feel for, how do you feel today? If you did the standing versions last week, but you're just feeling a bit off today and you feel like doing the sitting versions, by all means, go for that. Don't feel like you have to always do, one more than you did last time. That's just not realistic for how bodies work. I'd much rather that you were feeling into what feels right for you. You are responsible for looking after yourself, so this is a good way for you to learn what feels right for you. Okay, so we're going to be looking at 4 components of gait. If you think we aren't just a mindless body that just goes wherever it wants. It is driven by the brain, by the mind that decides where it's going to go. So the mind is then, if you think of that as the driver, you think of your body as the car. You've got your rotation through your mid-back, so that gets your pelvis moving side to side. And then you've got that shift of the weight, and obviously I'm demonstrating walking so it looks ridiculous. But hopefully you get the picture. Your brain is driving you where you want to go. You want to have good movement through the mid-back to get that kind of reciprocal movement. You want to be able to clear the ground as you swing your leg through. So that means your hips want to stay relatively level as you do that. You see people, if they get a bit weak around the hip, will either drop the hip as they step through or hitch it right up, which just kind of can mitigate for a weakness on this side here. We also want to, when we're walking, normally think about swinging through and getting the heel down first, because the heel is going to stop you from tripping. If you come through on your toes and you catch on something, that's that trip. So you want good clearance and you want to come down on your heel. As I said, if you overthink it, you're probably going to make it quite difficult for yourself. Also want to push off on the toes on the back, so we're looking towards that. You can do this video in bare feet or in shoes. If you can, try for bare feet, because it really helps you get that sensory input from the floor beneath you. And we know that sensation starts to decrease as you get older, and you can get that little bit you're sort of feeling for the floor a little bit more. So when you're walking, you maybe don't lift your feet up properly because you're just not 100% sure where things are. But that sensation can always be improved by getting a bit of sensation through in your bare feet. Okay, so let's stop talking through it. I think I have talked through everything. We are going to work on balance. So balance improves with getting wobbly, under control, and you want to find that sweet spot where you are a bit wobbly, but you're also safe. So that takes maybe just building up gradually to work out what's right there. Okay, so let's get started. Either sitting with your feet flat on the floor or standing with your feet about hip distance apart. Okay, and let's just think about rolling the shoulders back, just getting things kind of warmed up. Oh, stiff this morning. Okay, and then we'll have a roll forwards. Good. Nice. Should feel quite nice. If anything doesn't feel right in your body, just work with that. Okay, and let's just have a gentle tilt of the head, side to side. And go to a point that feels good for you. Well done, Vicky. I never told you I was going to do these. I just remembered. Okay, one more each way. And then we turn the head, looking over the left shoulder, the right shoulder, the left shoulder, the right shoulder. And really just going to a point that feels like you get maybe a little bit of resistance, but not pushing into any pain. Just gently moving again, side to side. Just helps all those joints in your neck get some lovely movement. Okay. And then come back to the center. Bring your arms out in front of you or wherever feels good for you. And then keeping the feet pointing forward, the hips pointing forward, we're stretching one arm back and forward. And the other arm, you're opening your chest to the side as you reach, and then coming back to the front as you unwind. Don't worry too much. You can see my hips are just shifting a little bit side to side there, but the priority is to get that rotation through the mid-back here. Just getting that little bit more maybe each time. Sometimes if you breathe out as you twist, that just helps you get that extra little bit of movement. And then breathe in as you come forward. Lovely. One more each way. Super. And we'll start to warm up the feet. So not a lot to see here, but we are lifting the toes and lowering them down. One side and then the other. Lift, lower, lift. So it's a little bit of an awkward movement, but what you're training here is the muscles at the front of the shins, and you're training those to be strong to help you get that heel strike and roll over your foot when you're walking. Okay, now you might need to hold on to something, and you can hold on to something throughout if you need to. We're going to take both up together. Woohoo! Okay, so although I'm not holding on to something, I do have to use my arms for balance. Okay. And you can keep going with any level that feels right for you. If what I'm doing feels too difficult, feel free to drop it back down to one of the first ones I started with. Okay, the final thing we're going to do here is come up onto the heels and take a little walk. So you just carry on with the lifting and lowering, Vicky. Yeah. Little Charlie Chaplin or somebody. Don't know. Okay. Ooh, maybe you've got a bit further to walk, that's fine. Go wherever works for you and come back to where you started and lower those toes down. Okay, and then we're coming into lifting the heels. So just one at a time to start with. Okay. A little bit more used to this as an exercise, it gets a wee bit easier. So you could start switching in midair. Lovely. Okay. And then going with both together, we lift and lower. Fab. As you come up onto the toes, really feel for that connection of the big toe into the floor. Sometimes your heels kind of come out to the side, but what we want is the heels to come straight up and down. And by planting down through the big toe and all the other toes, you're getting that little bit more strengthening. Okay, Vicky, if you just carry on with the lifting and lowering of your heels, Anyone who wants can come on to this more challenging version of going for a little walk. I should walk around you, there's not quite enough space, but going for a walk up on your toes. And if I can make a wally of myself doing this on a video, you can do this in your own home. Okay, coming back to where you started and staying up on the toes, we are going to drop the heels quite heavily. Now you're going to build up to finding what heavy is for you. So we just drop down, and that gives that signal to your bones to strengthen up. A little shake in the back of your body. Quite a nice wakening upper for the whole system. So even in sitting, you're just coming down quite heavily onto the heels, and hopefully you feel a bit of a jar through your joints there. Good. And if anyone really wants to go for it here, you can be adding in a little jump and landing quite heavily, but over time you might build up to that, so it's up to you. Okay, if you don't like doing that on 2 feet, you can come into quite a heavy stamp side to side to get that impact through your bones. Turn it into a little dance. Even when you're sitting. Okay, and we're done. Lovely. What's next? Okay, so I am going to be doing some single leg stands, so working on balance. In sitting, we're looking more at getting that strength in your quads. So yeah, holding that leg out and really keeping the knee straight. Hold for a couple of seconds, a couple of breaths. Don't hold your breath, and then lower down, and then the other side. Okay, coming onto one leg, you can lift up the other foot altogether. You can have a little toe down for support, and you can have a hand on something for support as well. If you have a hand for support, just try to reduce that as much as possible. So maybe go from 4 fingers down to 2 or something like that. And if you really want to challenge yourself here, you can close your eyes. Your eyes contribute so much into that balance that it's quite difficult to take them out of the picture. Just keeps switching sides. Maybe do a long hold on the other side so we don't end up with one. Yeah. Okay. And then if you want to add in that little bit more, keep the knee pointing forward, and we start to shift the hips forward and back. That was Vicky saying her thigh was shaking there, which is a good sign that you're getting some work. Well done. Great job. Okay, so I'm twisting a wee bit with that. You're just aiming to get the knee coming forward and back as the hip rotates there. Good. And hopefully you're feeling that in the supporting leg. Great. Keep the toes gripping and spread out. 2 and 1. Oh, give that leg a little shake, and we better balance you up and come on to the other side. So toes can be down for support, hands can be used for support. Sorry to everyone seated, there's just an awful lot of thigh strengthening here, but hopefully that helps you to think about maybe joining us in standing in a little while. So just finding that stillness, closing over your eyes for a bit for a challenge if you want, maybe having something beside you for support as you do that. Great job. Okay. I think about a little bit of a squeeze in the buttock beside the hip there, especially if you find that you're tilting over to one side or your hips slight and your pelvis isn't really staying level. Just think about these muscles here are really helping to control your balance, and they play a big role in your walking as well. Now let's get that little bit of a hip shift, that forward and backwards movement. The knee pointing straight, the pelvis shifting forward and back. See, I'm overthinking it there and I can't do the movement anymore. And if you like, taking your hands to do your walking pattern, so the hands are reaching forward with the opposite hand as the knee comes forward. Great job. Okay. Good. Good. We're nearly there. Well done, thighs. 2 and 1. Nice. Give both your legs a little shake out as needed. Okay. Right, you are going to start with marching, so you're getting your hip flexors going in sitting, okay? In standing, we're doing squats, so taking your feet just a little bit wider than hip distance, and we are inhaling, sitting down into exhaling, straightening up, squeezing through your buttocks, but thinking about sitting back and then coming to upright, and you're controlling that through your bottom muscles and your tummy muscles rather than swaying back into it. So nice and controlled as you do that movement. Okay, if you're seated but you feel up for a little stand above your chair, you might want to use the arms of your chair. You are going to bring your feet back a little bit, keep them hip distance, and come up into standing. You don't need to go all the way up. You could just come halfway and sit yourself back down. And if you find it's difficult, we can get a higher chair or pop a cushion under your bottom to make it a bit easier. Good job. Okay. Alrighty. Looking good. Alright, you carry on with that, Vicky. Yep. And then our next challenge here is to come into a single leg squat, so you can lift the other leg all together or just come onto your toes for a bit of support. And we're squatting down and straightening up. You can use support as well here. And this really works all the leg muscles. You'll see I'm wobbling quite a bit, so feel free to look at something that's not me to help maintain your balance. Great, well done, Vicky. Maybe that's your last one.
Thank you.
You can go back to marching. Ooh. 2 and 1. And over to the other side. Single leg. Oh, try and keep your knee over your toe. And again, don't tilt too far over to the side. Use support to keep yourself upright. Sorry about my wobbling. It's all part of the process. It will improve. It might improve. Good. And remembering using as much support as you need to. Good. 3. No, you're fine. 2 and 1. That is enough marching. Well done. Well done. Great job. Okay, so we are coming into hip abduction. Your hips will definitely be feeling this by now. In sitting, you're going to lift up one foot, take it out to the side, bring it back in, pop it down, then the other side. Okay, and standing it looks a little bit different, and again use support as needed. Coming onto that one leg, make sure the hip doesn't pop out and you stay nice and upright. And we're lifting the other leg out to the side. Just going with the one for now. Fab. Feeling that in that supporting hip and also in the hip that you're lifting to the side. And then if you want, you can add in that little single leg dip. Woo! On the supporting leg. Trying not to use you as support, Vicky. That would be a bit cruel. Okay. 3, 2, 1. So in sitting, carrying on with that lift out to the side, and standing, come over onto your other leg. Level in the pelvis, upright through the torso. All the toes lengthened, butt connected to the floor. And we lift and lower, and we'll try not to collide. There we go. Looking good. And with this one, keep your toes pointing forward, and that works the muscles on the side of the hip. You might find yourself kicking the toe out to the side, which goes more for the hip flexors, which is fine, but you'll probably find that's quite a bit easier. So let's make this worth our while. Yeah. Okay. And then we get a little bit of a bend in the knee on the supporting leg. If you like, this gets harder. You're doing well. Good. Lovely. Oh, how does that feel on your hips? You noticing it? Yeah, I'm certainly feeling this. I do this like every week, several times, and I always feel it in my hips. There's never been a point that I'm like, oh, this is so easy.
Is that a good thing? Do you feel it?
Yeah, it shows you're working the right muscles if you feel it. Yeah. Oh, 3, 2, and 1. Oh, give everything a little shuggle out. Right, okay, and finally we're thinking about hip hinging, which is the way that you might want to bend to pick something up without bending through your back, which you might have been told not to do. So soften through the knees, and you are thinking about this crease in front of your hips here. That is where you fold. So you're keeping the back nice and long, keeping your head lifted. So say I've dropped this cushion, I would hinge at the hips and then bend my knees as much as I need to pick it up, okay? And same goes in sitting. Vicky's hinging at the hips. Okay, you might need to take your knees quite far out to the side to do that, yeah. So, yeah, go and, if you twist to the side so people can see the length in your spine, so turn the chair around, yeah. Oh, she's going the other way. I meant towards me, but that's totally fine.
It's a learning experience.
Vicky says it's a learning experience. Okay, knees maybe slightly out to the side. Yep. Okay, and think about that hinge at the hips and keep your head kind of lifted. Okay. Look at that lovely length in your spine. Yep. Okay, not so easy in sitting, but she's got the cushion. She's done it. Thank you so much. Okay, so you can practice that. Just hinging and exhaling on the way up. So look at what's happening with my knees. They are softening, but they're not coming like fully into a squat. And if you practice it, you get stronger through the muscles in your back, which helps with the posture part of osteoporosis management and looking after the mid-back where there's a risk of vertebral fractures. And this is also great practice if you're going to get to the gym and do your deadlifts for those who want to. Okay. 2 more. And that is us. Well done. Let's take a roll of the shoulders a couple of times. And stretching your hands forward, clasp the hands together and just give a little pull apart on the fingers to get a stretch into the shoulders. Yeah, a little bit side to side there. Good. And then a little lift of your chin. And a little lift of your chest, extending through the back. Let your breath and your breathing settle down. And that's you. And you can always email us if you've got any questions. But otherwise, I hope that is working well for you. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.